it's a very significant day. This has not happened since 2012 when a political party that lost an election and its candidate decided to go to court to challenge the electoral results or the election results. We are seeing a repetition of same, except that the fashion will be slightly different. We are told that the Supreme Court is going to hear two significant things and make a decision. One, whether there should be live telecasts of proceedings, and two, the amendments that have been done by John Mahama and the NDC to their petition. And I can say to you that the police deployment here is very massive. They have tanks and also all the appropriate vehicles that the police deploy. We are unable to enter the Supreme Court because for several reasons, but we have a court correspondent, Sixtus Don Olo, who is accredited properly to go in there. He has been in and out of the Supreme Court. Tell us the picture in there that you saw when you went in there.
A very packed courtroom, I must say. Indeed, whilst observing all the protocols, before you get into the courtroom, you would have gone through security checks, and then the social distancing is strictly observed. Even for the bar, that's the lawyers representing the various parties in the case, they have been strictly directed to identify only 4 lawyers who represent each of the parties. So on the side of the petitioner, John Mahama, we have his team led by Mr. Chachu Chikata. But Mr. Mahama himself is present in the company of his running mate. On the side of the Electoral Commission, the celebrated lawyer for the commission, Justin Amenuvo, he is leading a team of 3 other lawyers. Chairperson of the Electoral Commission herself is present there, Jean Mensah, and we also have the 2 deputies. On the side of President Akufo-Addo, he's been represented by lawyer Akoto Ampao, and then the 3 other people, including Frank Davis. He is not present in court himself, Nana Akufo-Addo. I'm sure there are matters of state that he has to attend to. And so former party chairman and campaign manager in the just ended elections, Peter McMeno, is the one leading or representing him officially. But I've also seen Hackman Osuajman in there. As we speak now, they have retired. The judges have retired to consider the motion for amendment.
So it means that they are on a short break of a sort?
Yes, they've retired to chambers to consider. Once they come out, they'll be giving their ruling whether or not they are granting the motion before them to allow for the amendment of the originating processes as filed by lawyers for Mr. Mahama.
Now, if you want to see what is happening inside the chamber or inside the courtroom itself, because what I'm bringing you now is generally the views outside, we can now go into the courtroom, and with the grace of the Supreme Court itself having granted permission for live telecast, we have pictures coming through. So let's see what is happening in the courtroom. The case, unlike the 2012 petition, is being presided over by 7 justices of the Supreme Court, chaired by Chief Justice Anin Yeboah. The 6 other justices are Samuel Mafusao, Nene Abayate Amegache, Gertrude Tokonu, Mariama Owusu, Professor Ashikote, and Yao Apau. Thursday's proceedings seems to have begun on a surprising note for lawyers of the petitioners, as attempts to raise a motion for live telecast of proceedings were prevented. According to the bench, the court decided by itself that the proceedings be telecast live and had gone ahead to make arrangements to the effect.
Before there was a motion for live transmission as well. We believe that should perhaps take... I'm sorry, I'm a little bit confused. You have already done the motion for... Such arrangement should be based on an application to the court rather than an administrative decision. In the case of the election petition in 2012-2013, there seemed to have been an administrative decision made earlier, and then that was brought before the court itself because presumably somebody realized that administrative decision was not particularly appropriate. And so before the court, the matter was considered.
The petitioners later tabled their motion for an amendment of the suit before the apex court.
It's quite clear that in the petition as filed, in a couple of places where you should have read first respondent, it went the other way. And we're seeking to make clear that, for instance, we're not asking for a runoff election between the Electoral Commission and the first respondent. That's, clearly obvious.
But lawyers for the first and second respondents opposed the motion on grounds that the motion for amendments in itself contained errors.
Let's accept it and proceed with it. That is very well. Have you made a mistake before in life? That is so. We all make mistakes. And that is why we believe that the petitioner should have been more kind of the innocuous errors made by the first respondent. But my lords, may I make the point then that the applicant will be required to amend again certain of the statements in the proposed amendment. Yes, ma'am.
Please, you are not conducting their case
Very well.
for them.
Very well.
They have gone through the process they found.
However, after considering the arguments of the parties, the court agreed for the petitioners to amend their suit.
We have considered the application for you to amend the petition file. We have looked at the nature of the amendment and as it does not change the nature of the
Petitioner's case, we grant the amendment in the 10th grade. Let the amended process be found by the close of the day before 4:12 p.m. today.
A however struck out the motion for live telecast as moot. The case has since been adjourned to Tuesday, January 19.
Yes, the respondents are at liberty to amend their respective answers to the petition on or before 4:12 p.m. tomorrow, Friday, the 15th of January 2021. The petition is thus adjourned to Tuesday, the 19th of January 2021. The motion for live telecast of the proceedings is hereby struck as moot.
This has thus set the stage for pre-trial during the next hearing of the case. It is significant to remember that in 2012, 2013, that election petition, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the candidate of the NPP at the time, who was contesting the legitimacy of the election, has been constantly coming to the Supreme Court. John Mahama, you're seeing him in your shot there, is coming out of the court. He has been there already, as we remember Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to have been doing in the past. He has come out of the courtroom where he has been observing things for himself. We do not know if he would be making a comment or not.
The application for amendment was heard. So Mr. Chikata, who's our lead counsel, moved the application for amendment. It was opposed by counsel for the EC, that's Justin Amenuvo. It was also opposed by counsel for His Excellency Nana Addo.
What I mean is that they are saying that your amendment should not be approved.
It should not be approved.
You counter-argued.
We brought the application. We said that we required to make some amendments. They opposed it, meaning that they disagreed or they did not want our application granted. There was a brief argument. The court rose, came back and granted the application, our application to amend the petition. The petitioner, that's His Excellency, the former President John Dramani, and his counsels have been given 4 p.m. today to file the amendment, and the respondents have been given 4 p.m. tomorrow to file their amendment.
So after this, it means maybe first victory for you, first application approved. earlier application already agreed on by the Supreme Court, so that may be inconsequential. When should we start seeing the real case being heard?
The court, that's the Supreme Court, has adjourned the matter to Tuesday for proper pre-trial to commence. Actual hearing will commence after pre-trial, but there are going to be pre-trial proceedings next week.
What does pre-trial mean?
Pre-trial is just going to be some agreements on how the trial will proceed. Okay. That is what they are going to do.
So pre-trial would mean you're going to determine the issues and also proceed further. Yeah. We have been given 42 days. You have been to the courts before. You know how the court system works. You trust that 42 days will work for us?
Well, I hope so. I sincerely hope so. Okay. But those are the rules.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's Madam Marietta Apia Opong. She's a former Attorney General under the Mahama administration. Let me bring you some more responses here.
So the court ruled that even though they had made mistakes, it would permit them to amend so that the first respondent they intended to contest with in their petition is reverted to second respondent, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic. So that was what happened. In essence, the court is telling all of us that we make mistakes. So we should be kind to the errors committed by others.
In terms of the petition itself, where does that leave us? The court says 19, but we know that you have an initial objection that you are raising as well.
Well, that preliminary objection we have raised is in our answer. Is embodied in our answer. So we are going to come to court on the 19th, which is Tuesday, and that'll be the pre-trial. So the court will determine the course of the petition.
So that's lawyer Frank Davis. He's a member of the legal team for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic, who is a respondent in this particular case. Let me speak to the campaign chairman. So on the legal side, we've seen what's happening. On the political side, for your party supporters who are worried that, they are wanting, they may take our presidency from us, what do you say to party supporters?
Take your presidency from us? What a big question. On this frivolous petition, you must be joking. That's it.
They said that they are doing a mathematical argument and that the
mathematical error, and they have committed legal errors here, and the judges are saying be kind when people make errors. Errors that cannot overturn the outcome should be ignored.
All right, that's Peter Makimeno, campaign chairman of the New Patriotic Party in the 2020 election. He actually was also the campaign chairman of the NPP in the elections of 2016. So that's the political side of the argument. But let me come in here and speak to Mr. Amaliba. Mr. Amaliba, I have heard from Madam Marietta Apia Opong, former AG, who is also on your side. She has explained to us basically what happened in court. But the argument out there still remains that you have come to court to contest an error in terms of numerical accuracy. Yet you have also committed an error and you're begging the court to allow you to change that. Why should you be forgiven but the Electoral Commission should not?
The error that we sought to amend was a non-fatal error. It was an error which was not injurious, but just to set the record straight in the court. The error that the EC committed has resulted in people pouring onto the street. The error that EC committed has resulted in people being shot. The error that the EC committed has resulted in people being attacked by the police. And so the two errors are not the same. One error hasn't got the effect of being a fatal one, but this error is fatal because then it also robbed the people of this country of the president they voted for. So that's why we are in court.
Okay, you make the argument about people going on the street. This was an incitement we were told by your leaders asking them to go on the street. It has nothing to do with the EC, does it?
I disagree with you because the people of this country were clear in their minds as to who they voted for. And so it was a spontaneous reaction when the EC wrongly declared Nana Akufo-Addo as president. And so the people who poured onto the streets were people who spontaneously were angry at the outcome that did not reflect the will of the people. Okay. And so once the election was stolen from the people naturally went onto the street.
Looking at your petition, you're making a mathematical argument. You're talking about percentages and numbers. And yet, if you look at the NPP's response or Nana Akufo-Addo's response, it suggests that the total number of votes that you want nullified, even if that is granted, would still not change the 500,000 margin that Nana Akufo-Addo has led your candidate with.
They should wait when the trial begins and we show the exhibits and show the number of pink sheets that will accompany the paragraph 31, 32 of our petition. Then they can now come to that conclusion. But what is important is that the people of this country want Jim Mensah to take the witness book and justify the errors that were committed on the 9th and on the 10th. Errors that she cannot explain. She keeps changing the figures. I'm told, you are a journalist, I'm told that she has changed the figures up to 5, 6 times. That is unacceptable. That has never happened in this country. In fact, when you tabulate the percentage of all the 12 candidates, you get 103%. Where in Ghana have you ever seen that? Since the days of Diago de Azambuja, there hasn't been any electoral commission who has declared election results, and when you tabulate the percentage, it goes above 100. So there are questions to answer. And I think that for the people of Ghana to get to the bottom of this matter, there's a need for a full trial. And I'm even against the attempt by the MPP, that's the Nana Akufo-Addo's lawyer, to try to truncate this matter at the very first stage. Let us go into the matters and let the people of Ghana who voted know the rot